John Hilliard, and it's my pleasure to provide you with a little information about the Memorial Tree Program here at Memorial Church. Memorial has been a very important part of my life for a long time. My grandmother and mother brought me to church, to the church services and Sunday school back at the old church on Madison Street. I became a member of Memorial Church when I was confirmed in 1951. My wife, Nancy, and I were married in the old church. All three of our daughters were confirmed there, and two of them were actually married there. So I go back a long ways. At that time, I was on stewardship committees. I sang in the choir. And then when we moved to out here to Fitchburg, I continued singing in the choir, and I finally retired after 50 years of it. And shortly after that, I was the financial secretary for 10 years, and at the same time, I was served as a trustee for those same 10 years. So I've been around here a long time. Memorial Church sits on approximately 7 acres of heavily forested land on an otherwise urbanized Fitchburg residential neighborhood. The property lies on the terminal moraine, a ridge of rocks, big boulders, gravel and sand clay that was pushed and deposited by the last glacier as it advanced and melted. The Memorial Tree Program is part of the Memorial Grounds Program. The Memorial Grounds Program was established in 1989, the year we moved the congregation from downtown Madison to our present site. With 7 acres of land to care for, the Building and Grounds Committee created the Memorial Grounds Program, which involves planting trees, shrubs, and flowers, along with installation of several outdoor amenities in a planned and deliberate manner for the enjoyment of Memorial congregants and the surrounding community, and to make a more meaningful contribution to the environment. The Memorial Tree Program was established at the same time. Its purpose is to remember and memorialize members and friends who have passed. Each tree is dedicated to the memory of one or more members. Some of the trees have been planted for various other reasons. And each memorial tree is marked with an engravable, silver-brushed, durable outdoor plaque with the deceased name. The trees and plaques are funded by the Memorial Fund. The first memorial tree, called the volunteer tree, is a sugar maple donated and planted by longtime member Ted Peterson. This sugar maple has been placed to honor all of those who volunteered their time and talent in the construction of the church. I need to tell you a story about that volunteer tree. The volunteer tree that's out there now is not the first tree, it's actually the third. When we moved out to Fitchburg, unbeknownst to us, that hill at the base of which is this tree was a very popular sledding hill for kids. And the kids, whether they did it on purpose or not, managed to kind of wreck the first 2 trees. So this is now the third tree. I became the manager of the Memorial Tree Program at its creation in 1989. I've been at it for 35 years, and it's my pleasure to announce at this time that John Rosh will be taking over from me at the end of this year, starting next year. And I intend to work with him during the interim transition period. Currently, there are 29 memorial trees, including flowering trees, fruit trees, sugar maple, birch, and elm, that honor 65 members and friends of Memorial Church. In addition to the volunteer tree, the American Liberty elm, donated by Lenny Rowe, was planted in remembrance of 9/11, and the New Beginnings tree was planted to commemorate the return to the church following COVID-19. 9 fruit trees were planted as an orchard near the street so that neighbors could share the harvest of peaches, apples, cherries, and plums. This orchard became a part of the memorial tree program. At the outset of the program, an Adopt a Tree program was formed whereby members and friends could choose a tree or trees to take care of. At the beginning, this was very successful, but over the years, this has had modest success. So I would presume and hope that we can rejuvenate and jumpstart that program so that this program will continue long into the future.
Hi, I'm John Rosh. I'm a member of Memorial United Church of Christ. My wife and I have been members somewhere between 10 and 15 years, a little hard to remember exactly. This year I'm on the church council. In the past I've been council president. I'm really here to talk about the community orchard. A few years back, folks looked at this lawn we've got out front and thought, you know, we could do something useful with that space besides just grass, and they're talking about maybe community gardens. But I'd read about in Europe, especially England, it's popular to have community orchards. The purpose of the orchard, of course, is to produce fruit, but not just for our congregation. It's for the neighborhood. It's for everybody who needs a little fruit. So we decided to plant a variety of trees. We have 2 peaches, 2 plums, 2 pears. We only have 2 apples here, but we only have 1 cherry tree. The idea is that when the fruit comes ripe, first of all, we alert the congregation and they can come out and pick what they want. And we also try and let the neighbors know that the fruit is ripe. And I know that people have seen members of the neighborhood come over and pick some of our fruits. Members of the congregation help me keep the trees pruned, keep them sprayed. We use only organic methods, but we're able to combat a lot of the different blights and things that come on fruit trees. So this is our orchard, and we're real pleased to have it, and we're real pleased that we're able to help members of the community too. And another use we found for the orchard, and I think this is really great, John Hilliard's the one who suggested it, we plant memorial trees to members of the congregation who've passed or their family members who have passed. And John said, gee, we've got all these nice fruit trees. Why don't we use them for memorial trees for the next few years? So we're doing that, and that gives us another benefit from having our community orchard here. My 2 favorite times to visit the orchard, number 1 in the spring because the blossoms are just gorgeous, different colors from the different trees, really beautiful. But the best time to visit the orchard is in the fall when the fruit's ready like it is now. And I can get an apple. Really good.
Hi, I'm Mark Robert Seeger, and my father's name was Robert Arden Seeger. And this is the story about how this beautiful redbud tree became part of our memorial gardens. In 2002, my father died suddenly. And I remember getting the phone call where I taught at school, and I knew I needed to go. So I let my principal know that I would have to be leaving and wouldn't be back for a while. And I went home, and I also called my choir director, Mary Spangler, to let her know that I wouldn't be at choir or at church, being the good choir member. And I took my wife, Maria, and we got in a car and drove to Ohio. And so while I was gone, Mary told the choir what had happened, and the choir members decided to contribute money toward a memorial tree. And when I got back, I was so pleasantly surprised. I had no idea, and I thought it was a beautiful idea. And choir member Ted Peterson, a great forester, he said, let's go. So we got in his truck with his trailer behind, and we went to the Bruce Company and picked out a beautiful little redbud tree, which was one of my father's favorite trees. and we brought it back to the church here, picked a spot, and Ted helped me plant it using his forester's expertise. And now we have this beautiful tree to remember him by, which is a very significant remembrance because my father grew up on a farm in Ohio, and at his death he was still living on that farm. And there's 2 large stands of trees on the property, and he cut trails in those trees. And for many, many years, family members and friends enjoyed hiking them or riding the golf cart through them. It was so much pleasure to be with the trees on that property. So this was such a great memorial for my father, and I really want to thank Mary Spangler and the choir and Ted Peterson for helping it become reality.